Some of the reason why mountain biking is so fun is in part because it's a little bit dangerous. So here are 5 safety tips to keep it just a little bit safer. I'm Moynihan and I've been riding, racing and making mountain bike videos for over 10 years now. So the first of the 5 safety tips is to ride with a friend if you can. This is one that I'm actually not always that good at, but if you do have someone around, it's good to ride together. Not only is it good fun, but it means if there is an incident or an accident, there's someone there to sweep you up off the ground and to give you a hand. If you don't have a friend to ride with and you're heading out by yourself, it can be a really good idea to send a little WhatsApp live location to a loved one so they can keep a little eye on you if you don't appear back for whatever reason. I've only started doing this in the last 6 months because one of my friends told me a little anecdote about knocking himself out at the very last light of the day when it was -3, and he came to quickly and got home, but thought if he'd been knocked out longer it would have been really bad. So it's always a good idea to let someone know where you are if possible. Safety tip number 2 would be look before you leap. So it's really easy if you're riding a nice new trail to get carried away, get right into it and just send it off anything that you can see, but I've generally discovered that that's not the best shout. It's always a good idea to have a look over blind rises and scope a trail out first before sending it on the second lap. As much as you want to, it generally just results in getting injured or having a truly terrifying moment, which can be fun but isn't always the best. So yeah, look before you leap. Another little part of this is even if you're on a familiar trail but maybe you've not ridden it for a while, or it's straight after a storm or some other obvious incident, it can be worth taking your time on your first lap of a day down a trail, just in case there's a fallen tree over a blind rise or round a blind corner, and then cracking on second lap in. So point 3 is knowing your own strengths and weaknesses, especially in comparison to your peer group. You don't want to be bowing to peer pressure, even if it's from within, when a friend's done something that you know you can't do yourself and it's likely to just cause an injury. Similarly, just because you are better at riding downhill than one of your friends doesn't mean you should go to the skate park and try a 360 over the big box that they're doing. So just knowing your strengths and weaknesses is really important, and knowing when to decide that you're not going to do something today so you can actually ride tomorrow and you're not just injured. Safety point number 4, and I would say this is maybe even the most important one, is making sure your bike is actually safe. There's genuinely nothing worse than crashing because something fell off your bike. I personally have experienced this when my front tyre rolled off the rim and the tyre probably should have been in the bin, and I ended up with an incredibly sore shoulder and back and gravel rash. So check your bike, make sure all the nuts and bolts are tight, the spokes are tight, the tyres are at the correct pressures. You don't want a front tyre burping in a corner, and you certainly don't want a tyre falling off the rim, and you certainly don't want a front wheel falling completely off when you're doing a jump. So make sure your bike is fit to ride. So leading on from number 4 in a way is number 5, which is to make sure you've got the appropriate kit for any given ride. If it's torrential rain and icy sleet falling down, you're going to want to make sure you got a jacket on. This is something I was particularly bad at in my early 20s, and I would just go out in shorts and t-shirt all the time, but if nothing else it's pretty miserable. So make sure you've got the right kit. That can be having a jacket on, making sure you've got goggles on. If you're riding in woods where maybe the trees haven't been cut all the way back, you don't want to get your eye poked out by a branch. On the same token, have something to wipe your goggles or glasses with if they've got mud and water on them. Being able to see is obviously really important for riding a bike. Another age-old decision is whether to wear a full face or an open face helmet, and I have a personal rule that is if I'm going on any kind of uplift, whether it's a gondola, a pickup truck, any uplift, I wear a full face helmet, and the rest of the time I just wear an open face helmet. Obviously you'll go to races which are pedalling everywhere, and the rules are that you have to wear a full face helmet, so you can check the rules for races or locations that you're going to ride. But if not, uplift and shuttling, full face helmet. Otherwise, open face helmet is quite a good rule to start with. Once you've chosen your helmet that you're going to use, make sure that it's actually safe to ride, that it's not had any massive impacts in the past, or that it's not fallen off the shelf in the garage and become compromised. So make sure your helmet is safe to use. If you're a little bit unsure about choosing your safety equipment, like your helmet for example, check my 5 tips for that in the link above or in the description below. If you or a friend have a nice little tale about a time when you've learnt the hard way, let us know in the comments below and give the video a like and subscribe for more.